Okay, what we're going to talk about is sampling methods. And what we want to do is make sure that we understand how to sample. When we talked about a simple random sample, or SRS, what we want to always remember to do is want to label, randomize, select, and repeat if needed. Okay, that is what we call, those are the steps for any random sample. So if you take these last two things, RS, random sample. Now, there are different types of random sampling. Okay, and when we talk about random sampling, there is what's called a simple random sample, which is SRS. That's when you're choosing a group from the population so that every individual and every group of individuals is likely to be chosen. All right, so they have the same probability to be chosen. A stratified random sample splits the population into two groups of strata and are homogeneous. All right, say you are grouping but an impactful variable. And then from there, you choose a simple random sample from each strata. Okay, so from each group. And so if you have this in the population and you have two distinct groups from this population that may differ, all right, in what their values are, okay, so you might want to take a certain random sample, okay, random sample of this one group, maybe a certain value, and then a random sample of this group, all right, in doing that. And then you would combine these answers into your final sample. All right, because you think these two groups will, all right, have an impactful variable. Okay, so there's a difference between what they would say. Okay, systematic sampling is you choose a random starting point. Okay, so you just random starting point, use equal intervals to move to the next individual until you have as many as you need in order to start that out. And then finally, cluster sampling splits the population to two groups of clusters that are heterogeneous, all right? Different, they are basically mini population. That's the key thing. When you talk about heterogeneous, they are mini population of the same thing. So you have this population, all right? And so unlike strata, okay, where strata you're taking a sample because you think that one population might be different than another, all right? This one is actually in this population, you are actually going to say, okay, there are clusters of individuals that make up the entire population, okay? And they're pretty much the same, all right, all around here. And then we're going to randomly select one of or more of these different groups, okay? So we're going to sample everyone in this group. So if this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, we would take a random sample of the clusters and sample everyone, okay? And so we have that, all right? And actually, I probably should change this up right here because we're taking a random sample, all right, of individuals inside the strata, random sample of inside, a random sample of clusters, and then sample each one of those values. So then get data on all individuals in cluster, okay? When is one random sampling method preferred over another? Well, if you have just a general population, all right, and you just want to choose, probably simple random sample would be good. A stratified random sample is if you have two distinct groups, all right, groupings that might change your data, so you might want to have that. And then systematic, if you just want to choose a starting point and maybe want to go from there. And then clustering is that if you do have many populations, this makes it very fast and efficient in order to that. If you have like groups that you think might be the same, and then you can just sample everybody in those groups. And then you're just going to divide those things up. Well, to help you understand better of how we're going to do this, we're going to go through a check your understanding, an example of this. A factory runs 24 hours a day producing wood pencils on those. And I'm going to actually stop this and then go on and do this next one.